Before you come in, you gotta know who you're messing with. The HOK is the toughest environment. You think you're ready, you think you're nice, it takes a high requirements. You gotta pay the price if you wanna survive this life. Put your heart on the line, no room for second guessing. Step into the ring and learn yourself a lesson. The pressure is heavy, it's sink or swim. Light hits the stage, but your shadow is dim. You came for the crown, but you're facing a king. No turning back when you step in the ring. Blood, sweat, and tears, yeah, we built from the grit. You talk about winning, now you ready to quit. So check your ambition before you walk the HOK. Don't care what you say, the HOK is the toughest environment. Before you come in, you gotta know who you're messing with. Show us your source, let the truth be spoken. Words don't mean a thing when the trust is broken. You know how this works, I see you crying, I know it hurts. HOK is the toughest environment. Before you come in, you gotta know who you're messing with. HOK is the toughest environment. You think you're ready, you think you're nice, it takes a high requirement. You gotta pay the price if you wanna survive this life. HOK is the toughest environment. You think you're ready, you think you're nice, it takes a high requirement. Toughest environment. Before you come in, you gotta know who you're messing with. The HOK is the toughest environment. You think you're ready, you think you're nice, it takes a high requirements. You gotta pay the price if you wanna survive this life. Put your heart on the line, no room for second guessing. Step into the ring and learn yourself a lesson. The pressure is heavy, it's sink or swim. Light hits the stage, but your shadow is dim. You came for the crown, but you're facing a king. No turning back when you step in the ring. Blood, sweat, and tears, yeah, we built from the grit. You talk about winning, now you ready to quit. So check your ambition before you walk the HOK. Don't care what you say, the HOK is the toughest environment. Before you come in, you gotta know who you're messing with. Show us your source, let the truth be spoken. Words don't mean a thing when the trust is broken. You know how this works, I see you crying, I know it hurts. HOK is the toughest environment. Before you come in, you gotta know who you're messing with. HOK is the toughest environment. You think you're ready, you think you're nice, it takes a high requirement. You gotta pay the price if you wanna survive this life. HOK is the toughest environment. You think you're ready, you think you're nice, it takes a high requirement.
Y'all already know what it is, man. Listen, man. Y'all already know what it is. We got the champ in the building, the man who took out the man. You know what I'm saying? He go by the name of Heru Conscious. And let's see what we got here. We got some good information. The brother took on JJ 7000. And of course, I mean, not me, but there's other people that said the brother won. I didn't get to see it. Hopefully I can go and get a chance to see it. What's up, brother? You got it turned on your camera?
Yeah, I'm trying to turn my camera on so you can actually see who I am.
Yes, work it out. But I just want to let y'all know that this brother took out the DMG champion over there. And so I guess DMG have a new champ right now that's rocking with the championship. And so somebody going to have to try to take his belt if they can. You know, so the brother have been invited to come on over here and let us see what he got. And so as y'all can see the topic, did the people believe the Neter / Neteru were literal beings? So I already know where JJ's position was, and he's saying yes. So I guess my man Heru, Conscious, is probably saying no. And so we'll find out. We'll find out what it is. And we're just waiting on our brother to get it all set up so we can get. I mean, if you can't cut it on right now, we could go on with it. It's cool. Okay. If you can't, Heru.
Yeah, I'm not real savvy with this app, but I'm trying to figure out because I usually just use just use an avatar picture, but I want to show people that I'm a real person.
Yeah. I got the flyer up so the people seeing you. Yes, you know, and they can go and check out the DMG debate. Yes, all right, so there's the brother right there. You want to say something before we go on with this, brother?
Yeah. I want to first of all give you a big shout out, sa.neter.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for bringing me on to the show. I want to thank everybody that came out to catch this presentation. I want to thank. I just want to thank the community in general. You know, because I'm watching a lot of elevation in so many different ways, and I'm just grateful to be here actually because you're one of the pioneers, brother, that really make these kind of shows possible. So I thank you,
brother. Yes, thank you to our brother DMG. You know, and it's on and popping. So whenever you're ready, your presentation is up. We see it.
Okay.
Did the 18th dynasty of Kemet believe that the Neteru were literal beings?
That up real quick. Okay. So I wanted to clarify something. When me and JJ actually had our debate, we were debating specifically on the 18th dynasty of ancient Kemet, and we wanted to come down to this resolution right here of did the 18th dynasty of Kemet believe the Neter and Neteru were literal beings? And I was glad that JJ had actually clarified a question I had for him, what did he mean by literal beings? And he said humans. So let's get into the presentation. So, good afternoon, everyone. The resolution before us is: did the people of the 18th dynasty of Kemet believe
your volume is a little low?
Were literal beings?
Excuse me, brother Heru. The people are saying your volume is a little low.
Oh, it's a little low?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. We got Mario Saze in the building as well, watching you, brother.
Oh yeah, man. Oh man, that's an honor right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps with the audio. But we were discussing that the people of the 18th dynasty specifically believe that the Neteru were literal beings. And as a negative, I actually reject that resolution. I wanted to be very clear from the beginning that I'm not making a grammatical argument, as this was a Kemetic theological framework. I'm not arguing that the Kemetic people believe the Neteru were imaginary or unreal. That would be a straw man. And, if my opponent did try to argue against that, he would actually be debating a position I never took. So the affirmative actually had a much heavier burden. He must demonstrate that the people of the 18th dynasty understood the Neter/Neteru as literal beings, not merely as real within their worldview, but as literal, independent beings in the sense required by the resolution. That burden has not been the mistakes that people make when approaching ancient Egyptian religion is opposing modern categories onto an ancient worldview. Egyptian theology does not separate deity from function the way Western religions often do. Shu is not merely a man. Shu is a force of air and separation. Tefnut is not merely a woman. She embodies moisture and balance. Geb is the earth. Nut is the sky. Mayat is truth, justice, and cosmic order. These are not simply characters in the story. They're the very principles that sustain existence. Even if the kings, even if the kings demonstrate this theological framework during life, upon death, he becomes a Asar. Every legitimate king participates in these identities. If Heru and Asar were understood merely as unique, literal individuals, how can countless kings across centuries become Heru and life in Asar? The evident point points to divine offices, manifestations, theological identities, and not merely isolated beings. My opponent has already relied on grammar, specifically the determinatives for Netzer, but grammar cannot settle metaphysics. A determinative tells us a word belongs to a semantic category of a deity. It does not tell us the philosophical nature of that deity. The language classifies words, theology explains what those words actually mean. So throughout the debate, I will demonstrate that the affirmative repeatedly conflates real with literal. Those are not synonymous. The Egyptians regarded the Neteru as real, but the evidence from the 18th dynasty presents them as manifestations of cosmic order, natural forces, kingship, and creation itself. Therefore, the affirmative cannot simply prove that the Egyptians worshiped the Neteru. They must prove that the people of the 18th dynasty conceived of them as literal beings in the exclusive sense required by the resolution. I will show that the primary text, royal theology, and nature of Egyptian religion support a far more sophisticated understanding, one of which the Neteru are divine realities expressed through cosmic principles, functions, and manifestations, not merely literal beings. And for these reasons, I ask you all to do the same, to reject the resolution. Thank you. So now, the Neteru were regarded as real divine powers, but the
Brother
evidence does not
Heru,
reduce.
brother Heru.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah, the
sir.
people are still saying you have super low. Your volume is super low.
Okay, let me try something else. Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
Okay, bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna try this microphone.
Yeah, I like your opening as well. Your opening is tight.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Now, can everybody hear
Oh
me
man, way better,
more
way
clear
better,
now?
way better, way better. You heard me?
All right, bet. Let me go back to my previous slide. Yes,
Yes, go
sir.
ahead. Way better. Go ahead.
Uh, All right, bet. Okay, so now my premise here is the Neteru were regarded as real divine powers, but the evidence does not reduce the entire category to literal human-like or historical individuals. Egyptian theology included cosmic realities, personified concepts, divine functions, manifestations, composite identities, and deified humans. Royal deification represents one part of that system, not the explanation for the entire system. And this is where my opponent's downfall was at. He focused strictly on the divinity of the king, and he said, "The heck with the Ntru." So what I did is I quoted from Jan Asman from his book, Moses the Egyptian. I'm sorry, right from page 194. Asman, he said divinity could manifest through multiple forms. The hidden God whose symbols, images, and names are the many. So divine identity doesn't just simply equate to one person biography. So the important chronological caveat here is that Osman sees this particular universalizing conception developing through the New Kingdom with especially strong formulations after the Amarna period. So don't claim that this exact formula is characterized every year of Dynasty 18. So here's another part that's brutal to this debate. Determinatives does not settle ontology. My opponent, he repeatedly emphasized hieroglyphic determinatives such as A40, a divine classification, but a determinative actually assists the reader in identifying a word's semantic category. It does not independently provide a complete philosophical explanation of the referent. Writing a name with a divine determinative can tell us that the person, power, or entity being classified within the sphere of divinity. It does not by itself answer this, though. Whether that divinity is primordial or acquired, whether it's a cosmic, local, or royal or funerary, whether it's a personification, whether it's a manifestation of another deity, or whether the human has been fully ritually elevated into the divine sphere. A king can be classified as divine. Well, let me say this over. The king being classified as divine does not prove that every divine entity is therefore originally a human king. That's a logical error of reversing the category. A human ruler can enter a divine classification without every member of that classification being a former ruler. The lexical classification is not a complete ontology. So my opponent faces, if the literal being simply means something that the cosmic order, divine speech, air, moisture, earth, sky, may all qualify as real aspects of their religious cosmos. But that does not support his claim that they were historical people. If literal being means a distinct human-like individual with a personal identity, then he must prove that Otto consistently explains the entire category at a rule. He cannot change definitions depending on the example. He cannot treat a deified king as proof of biological humanity, and then treat Mayat as an abstract reality, Amun-Re as a fusion, and Shu as the air. He'll claim he's demonstrated one uniform ontology. The affirmative must tell us exactly what a literal being is, and then apply that definition consistently. This is where it got crazy. I never once denied divine kingship. If you don't know, if a person doesn't know that the kings were deified through coronation ceremonies, they probably should not be debating ancient Kemet. So let me remove that one possible straw man immediately. I'm not denying that the Egyptian king was divine. The king was associated with Heru during life, described as the son of Re, charged with maintaining Mayat, and positioned as the mediator between human and divine spheres. But even the Metropolitan Museum's explanation carefully distinguishes the king's divine power and office from full, unrestricted godhood. It states that the king was a living embodiment of Horus and the son of Re, while nothing that the kings were only fully worshipped as Neter during their lifetimes. except for in exceptional cases. It also explains that Egyptians recognized the king's mortality. So again, going back to determinatives, that this just doesn't settle ontology, whether that divinity is primordial or acquired, whether it's cosmic, local, royal, funerary, whether it's personification, whether it's manifestation of another deity, merged identity, or whether the human has been ritually elevated into the divine sphere, we have to understand that determinatives only deals with the semantic wording of it, doesn't deal with ontology at all. I just wanted to reiterate that. So this is where I actually picked into my first source, where I just mentioned the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This is right on page 20. It tells you the role of the gods. And, that distinction actually matters because the king's identification with Heru expresses a sacred kingship, legitimacy, and ritual function and participation in divine power. It does not prove Heru began as an ordinary human king whose historical biology was later disguised as mythology. Calling the king the embodiment of Heru explains the king through Heru. It does not necessarily explain Heru as merely another human being. And so my source from that was from the Metropolitan Art, again, the Art of Ancient Egypt. This was page 20. And then I did kind of highlight some things right off of that page, so nobody said that I just made it up. But it does say right here, the Egyptians believed that the universe and all the events that occurred within it were governed by the will of the gods. If the annual of the Nile was too great or too scant, it was because the river was angry or because it maintaining, not because weather patterns in Central Africa. It also says the gods embodied not only all of the natural phenomena, but also abstract concepts such as justice, kingship, protection, and truth. That's a smoking gun right there. But yet my opponent said I did not have any sources and that these weren't legitimate sources. But this is for educators. I don't know what he's talking about. The next one here, divine kingship in the 18th century. Divine power doesn't equate to fully godlike. So as we could see here, this is from pages 29 and 31 of the same exact source, the section of order over chaos, the role of the king. The ancient Egyptians believed that the king was endowed with divine power, so he could maintain universal order and justice against forces and of chaos and evil. To describe the king's divine, but by no means fully godlike nature, the Egyptians called the king the living embodiment of Heru or Horus and the son of Re, the sun god. Only in exceptional cases were the king worshipped as, fully as gods in their lifetime. So I just wanted to show that this was actually from the source and nothing I just made up. Pardon me. So royal theology cannot explain all of the Heru. Nearly every source that my opponent had advertised circles around the same subject: the king as Neter, the king as Horus, the king as the mediator of Mayat, the king as divine ruler, the king's place within political theology. That may establish an important point about kingship, but the resolution concerns the Neteru as well. The historical interpretation must explain more than just the examples selected because they resemble rulers. Consider Mayat. The Metropolitan Museum identifies Mayat as the goddess who is personified equilibrium, and while another metropolitan description calls her the personification of truth. Was Mayat a historical queen who later became a universal truth and cosmic equilibrium? Where's her reign? Where's her tomb? Where's the evidence that an actual woman's biology became the structure of cosmic order? Or does her human form allow Egyptian theology to give agency, identity, and cultic accessibility to a reality larger than an ordinary person? Or does her human form allow Egyptian theology to give agency, identity, and cultic accessibility to a larger than ordinary person? I'm sorry, I repeated that for some reason. But my opponent must answer the same questions, for Heka, Sia, Hu, Nu, Shu, Tefnu, Geb, Nut. We could go down the list. So the composite Neteru challenge is a discrete person model. Now consider the composite divine identities. During the New Kingdom, Amen became enormously important, particularly through the forms of Amen Re. Okay, UCL's Digital Egypt resource explains that Amen, the invisible divine power, could be fused with Ra, the visible solar source of light and energy, producing a composite deity that embraced both aspects of divinity. It specifically notes that the combinations undermine the modern assumption that every divine name represents a commonly separate character. The British Museum similarly describes Amen Re as Amen interpreted as a manifestation of the sun god Re. It creates a serious problem for my opponent's model. If Amen and Re were simply two historical human persons, what exactly happened when they became Amen Ra? Did two dead men physically combine? Did one man absorb the biology of another? Amen Re expressed theological integration and hidden power of Amen united with the visible solar activity of Re. The same issue applies when you apply it to Ra Horakti or Atum Re used in other fused forms. Composite identities make sense through manifestation, syncretism, function, and shared divine power. They're not easily explained as ordinary historical people. So the deification actually demonstrates category fluidity. My thinks that deification proves his entire case. It actually demonstrates that the divine category was capable of transformation and participation. A mortal king could embody Heru. A dead king could become united with Asar. A blessed dead person could enter the divine sphere as well. Temple ritual itself could direct offerings towards a deity, a king, or a blessed dead person, all made accessible through an image. UCL's description of the daily cult ritual distinguishes these recipients while placing them within this a shared ritual environment. Now, notice the nuance here: a king, or a deity, a king, a blessed dead person can all receive the same divine ritual treatment without being identical in origin or nature. Their inclusion in a related ritual or lexical category does not raise the distinctions between them. Therefore, when a king is called divine, we must ask that how that status operates, not assume that it proves all deity were originally human. So the 18th dynasty afterlife, that also expands the problem. The development of funerary religion makes the literal identity model even more difficult because by the early New Kingdom, Book of the Dead compositions, or proper name Pert M. Heru, appeared in non-royal burials. These texts developed from earlier funerary traditions and allowed private individuals to pursue transformation, resurrection, and association with the gods. Research from the University of Chicago describes the Book of the Dead as a promising to transform a person into immortal divinity in the afterlife. Its text could identify the deceased with Osiris, Re, and other divine forms. Book of the Dead spell 69 can even have the deceased declare, "I am Osiris," demonstrating the ritual identification with the resurrected God. Now, does that mean that every deceased individual literally became the same historical man, or does it demonstrate participatory identity, the deceased entering the condition, power, and regenerative pattern of Osiris? If thousands of individuals can become Osiris, so and so, um, then divine identity can't be treated as simple one-to-one biological identity. And I also have another PDF here from the University of Chicago, and this is another one from smarthistory.org. This is the Egyptian mortuary text, actually. Let's see. So, and this is another thing. A lot of these guys, when they go to debate, they do a technique which I call info dumping. My opponent, what he did is he had posted a long list of authors: Jan Asman, Malifi Asante, Milani Karenga, Check Antadia, Jacob Carruthers. The whole list goes on. But stacking up names does not eliminate the need to establish a coherent argument. So first, summaries posted without exact page quotations, without page quotations, must be verified. An Amazon listing provides that books exist. It does not prove that a paraphrase accurately represents the author. Second, even when these scholars affirm that divine kingship, that does not automatically establish that every netter was a literal historical person. And then third, most of the summaries presented concern kingship, not the entire theological category. My opponent cannot cite 6 scholars discussing the king and then pretend that he's explained Ma'at, Heka, Shu, Nut, Nun, Amen, Re 6 different times. That's repetition. It's not cumulative proof. So this is the closing of my first round. My position does not require me to deny that the Neteru were real to the Egyptians. It requires me to show that the affirmative's reduction is unsupported and completely misunderstood. The evidence shows a theological system containing divine kingship, cosmic powers, personified concepts, natural realities, deified humans, funerary transformations, participatory identity, manifestations, and composite Neteru. My opponent's model primarily explains why kings were placed in the divine category. It does not prove the entire divine category consisted of literal historical human beings. So I leave the judges with one question. Can the affirmative consistently explain Ma'at as cosmic order, Shu as air, Nut as the sky, Heka as divine efficacy, the dead as Osiris, and Amen Re as a composite manifestation using the same literal human model he applies to the kings? And that was the end of my first round. Want to make sure you're still with me, Sa. Hello? Okay. I think we still on. I'm gonna keep going. So here was the thing. What JJ did is he proved the king, not the Neteru. My opponent had spent an enormous amount of time proving something that I never denied. The Egyptian king was divine, and that's fine. The king embodied Heru. The king embodied Ma'at. The king could be called Neter Nefer. The king acquired a sacred royal identity through coronation. None of that proves the resolution. The resolution was the 18th dynasty kings divine. It asks whether the Neteru were literal beings. If your entire model depends upon royal coronation, royal tutelary, and royal deification, then your model explains the king. Now we have to wait for him to explain everything else, which he never did. So his own argument creates a category distinction. My opponent says that the human becomes Neter through coronation. Think about that. Before coronation, this individual is already human. After coronation,
Heru, you was calling me, brother? Excuse me. You was calling me just now?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was still on.
No, you still live. I had to run in the kitchen to get something. You get some water.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, cool, bro.
You're doing great.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
So yeah, Yes, sir. My opponent says that the human heir becomes the netter through coordination. Now, think about that. Before coordination, this individual is already human. After coordination, according to his own presentation, the king enters a divine office and becomes Heru. So, whatever netter means in that context, it cannot simply mean a literal human being. He was already human. My opponent has actually demonstrated a transition: human identity, ritual transformation, divine royal identity. That proves category transformation. It does not prove the divine category itself originated as a collection of humans. And the Metropolitan Museum explicitly says that the Egyptian kings possessed a divine, but by no means fully godlike nature, and that only exceptionally were the kings worshipped fully as gods. So even royal divinity was seen nuanced. And then I did have another source from the Metropolitan for that one. Um, so the 18th dynasty archaeology, the king and the gods are still distinct. Now let's leave the modern summaries and look at the material evidence from the actual 18th dynasty. The British Museum preserves a temple relief in which Amenhotep II makes an offering to Amun-Re, who sits separately on the throne. That is an 18th dynasty king physically depicted communicating with a deity distinct from himself. And that's from the temple relief British Museum. Similarly, a late 18th dynasty statue group with group in which Amen protects Tutankhamun. Amen and Amen the king appear as related divine and royal figures, but not one of undifferentiated biological entity. So the archaeology gives us a more complex structure. The king can embody Heru, the king can possess divine authority, and yet the king can still stand before Amun-Re as a separate participant of divine protection. And that is exactly why the ritual identity cannot be reduced to a simple biological identity. And then you can look that up as well. This is from the Metropolitan Museum of Art under Tutankhamun's World, a self-guided tour. Um, and it goes into where he kind of identified with Happy of the Nile. Um, and then here's another good one. A human king cannot assume a god's guise without becoming that god biologically. Um, Here's another 18th dynasty artifact. The British Museum has a statue of Tutankhamun that may portray him in the guise of Happy, the Nile inundation deity. The museum explicitly says the pharaoh may be shown in the guise of Happy, who uh, embodied the Nile flood. Now, ask yourself: did Tutankhamun literally become the Nile? Was he Was his human body now, several thousand kilometers of flowing water? Of course not. The image communicates divine function, royal power, and theological identity. That alone destroys the assumption that identification equals biological identity. Egyptian theology could make one figure participate in another divine identity without collapsing them into ordinary historical personhood. So composite deities are still fatal to the simple person model. Let's talk about something. His king-centered presentation keeps avoiding synchronism. The UCL's Digital Egypt explains that Egyptian divine names could be fused. Amen described there was invisible power that could wait a minute, I'm sorry, invisible power that could combine with Ray, solar light, creative energy, producing Amun Ra and composite deity embracing both aspects. And we have the 18th dynasty archaeological evidence for this exact complexity. A British Museum statue dating to the reign of Tutmosis III contains offerings to addressed to Ra Hor-Akti, Amen combined with Ra Hor-Akti, Atum, and Osiris. So I definitely wanted to. So I did ask my opponent this: if each netter is just a discrete literal person, then who is Ra Hor-Akti Atum? Three historical men, one historical man wearing three names, or three people fused into one supernatural person? Or is this a theological synthesis of divine powers and functions? So the Metropolitan Museum's own educational resource states that the gods embody not only all natural phenomena, but also abstract concepts such as justice, kingship, protection, and truth. That line is devastating to an oversimplified literal person model. Uh, the divine category includes natural phenomena and abstract concepts. The Met further explains that the Egyptians represented the multiple powers of deities in many different forms because no single image could fully represent a god's powers. And it states explicitly that the Egyptians did not believe the gods were literally the animal or human um, uh, or human animal forms shown in the ark. Those images visualize divine aspects of superhuman powers. So representation does not equal literal physical description. Again, image is not ontology. The title is not ontology. Ritual identification is not biological identity. So now we must explain Ma'at, and that's something he never even attempted to do. My opponent keeps bringing to me kings, and I keep asking him for the Neteru. So let's start with Ma'at. The same Met source says that the goddess Ma'at personified equilibrium in the world. Personified, not merely a historical woman who happened to become important. So Ma'at is a cosmic order made personal and ritually accessible. Was Ma'at a queen whose physical body was later turned into justice? If that was his position, then he needed to produce archaeological biography, and he never did that. He never showed the parents where her tomb was or what dynasty did she reign in, because theological personification is not the same thing as historical personhood. This was another one I thought was devastating. 18th dynasty Amun Re, breath, power, breath, life. The 18th dynasty also gives us a direct material evidence for the divine functions that transcend human biology. The Met preserves the dynasty, a dynasty 18 glass plaque naming Amun Re as the Lord of the breath of life. It isn't someone's Facebook interpretation. This is actually a New Kingdom artifact dating approximately 1550 to 1295 BCE. Amun Re is operating as a source or lord of the life-giving breath. Combine that with the syncretic evidence we just discussed, that is a theological complex involving invisible power, solar energy, creative force, breath, and life. Reducing that to Amun Re was a literal human person does not explain the evidence. It completely ignores it. Here's another one. Consider Hatshepsut. Her Deir el Bari temple contains the famous divine birth cycle in which Amun visits Queen Amos and establishes Hatshepsut's divine legitimacy. The Metropolitan Museum describes these scenes as confirming Hatshepsut as a divine and legitimate ruler. This royal ideology, it explains legitimacy, it creates sacred genealogy, it established divine kingship. But are we supposed to treat this as a hospital birth certificate proving that Amun was an ordinary historical man who biologically fathered Hatshepsut. That's exactly what the methodological distinction my opponent keeps ignoring. Theological genealogy tells us what kingship meant. It does not automatically give us the literal biological history. And that's out of the Howard system. Howard Carter, Hatshepsut's mother, Queen Atmos, late 19th century. Original New Kingdom, and we're looking at 1497 to 1458 BC. This is also for the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So Akhenaten proves the 18th dynasty theology was not static. I mean, there's another problem with claiming a single simple ontology for what 18th dynasty believed, what the 18th dynasty believed. The 18th dynasty itself underwent dramatic theological change. Under Akhenaten's reign, Amun's name and images were deliberately attacked, erased from monuments. The British Museum has artifacts preserving physical evidence of those targeted erasures. Then, under Tutankhamun, traditional worship, especially Amun's cult, was restored. The Met documents the restoration program, renewed creation of Amun-related monuments. So even within the 18th dynasty, we have traditional Amun theology, Akhenaten's Aten revolution, suppression of Amun, restoration under Tutankhamun. That alone should make any of us suspicious of any argument that says the 18th dynasty believed X full stop, which king, which temple, which phase, which theology. Historical precision actually matters here. So the 18th dynasty, I want people to be clear, is that it, like a couple centuries worth of time here. It wasn't just one king. So here's where the debate actually stands. My opponent demonstrated that the king could be divine. I never denied that. But the 18th dynasty evidence shows the king could embody Heru. The king could appear separately before Amun-Ra. The king could assume the guise of Hapi. Deities could fuse into Amun-Re, Ra, Hor-Akti, Atum. Mayat could personify cosmic equilibrium. Amun-Re could embody life, giving breath. The divine imagery could express powers that no single form could contain. And I'm sorry, that's not a simple system of literal historical people. In my opinion, now that's a sophisticated theological or theology of divine power, manifestation, personification, participation, and synchronism. So I challenge the affirmative to stop proving the king and prove the Neteru. Until you can apply one coherent definition of literal being to the king, Mayat, Amun, Ra, Hapi, Ra, Akti, Atum, the divine category, you haven't proven the resolution. You've given a royal theology. I'm actually explaining Egyptian theology. And so since he didn't say I didn't have sources, I just took the liberty to show this because I didn't get to show this at the debate. We just kind of ran out of time with a lot of technical difficulties. But as you can see, I did have 18th century archaeology and primary material. I had 7 sources for that. And scholarly museum synthesis, I had 3 sources for that. Thank you all.
What's up, brother? You lost it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was the end of the presentation.
Oh, okay. Excellent, powerful presentation. Now you know you're gonna have the House of Consciousness debaters up here. Probably trying
Yes,
to
sir.
critique you, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, all good.
Are you open for questions, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, bro.
You might have to get into another debate over here, man.
Hey, I
Yeah.
welcome it, man. I welcome it. I think that, my number one priority for even doing this is just to get proper education out here.
Right.
So yeah, I don't care about the egos or nothing like that. I just, the debate is what it is. That's what
Right.
I'm here for.
All right. I want to let y'all know that the link is in the chat. It's pinned in the chat. And I got my man Ashay up in the building, the Bomb Squad. What's up, brother? Do you have a question for the good brother?
Yeah, I've actually got a few questions. You said the king is Neter Nefer. The Nasut is Neter Nefer, which means he's good God. Now, with that, is he literal?
The king would be, in this sense, he's a human being, of course, and that's what we qualified this down to. He wanted to say that every Neter and Neteru were human beings.
No,
So
I'm
yes,
not.
the
No,
king,
no,
the
no.
king,
I'm just asking. Is the Nasut literal? Is the Nasut who they're referring to as Neter Nefer? As Nefer, is he a literal person? You said that's right, right?
in that context, yes.
So is it fair to say that the Neteru are both, and there's no absolute on saying that they're not literal and they are literal when you literally have an example right before you where this is a literal Neter?
Okay, well, let's apply the same thing. You see, you have to apply the same
No,
test to
no, you
to the
cannot
category.
apply the you cannot
Hold
apply
up,
this.
hold up. I say you got to let him finish. Let him finish, and then you can respond.
No problem, son.
So in other words, what happens is people get to try to pick and choose what works this way and what works that way. It doesn't work that way. If you're going to look at the Neteru itself, the Neteru, we can even start with Atum. Atum was not a literal person. He wasn't a king. Yet every bit of he was considered the all encompassing the all, correct? And every bit of the Neteru came out of Aten. So you have to you have to apply that same standard to you have to apply that test to each Neteru. If you're going to say, well, the king's literal, then you have to apply that to Shu as well.
Man, no, and that's the issue. No, there are levels to this thing. That's where the understanding of the culture kicks in a major way, and that's where the commentary misleads you. It's not. I already knew it was going to be a kind of problematic when you was looking at the Neter as God, because that's not the definition of Neter. For even Einstein Jabari was up here, he said Neteru are not God. That's not what it equates to. So that's very misleading a lot of times when we get that understanding, because then you try to do the whole, if it's God, it's not. Oh no, it's levels to the Neter. Certain Neters birth Neters. I want to ask you a question. And to be fair, and I'm going to be fair to you. I'm not just here to just hate on you. I don't want you to think I'm here hating on you, brother. I want to ask you something. Logically, if the Nasut is Heru, let me ask you this. This is a two-part question. Does the Nasut have the same afterlife as everybody else?
No.
What is different from his afterlife than perhaps mine?
Okay, so now let's look at chronology, because when you go back to let's say Old Kingdom, all the way up to let's start with the Old Kingdom. The Old Kingdom, no one had access to these funerary scripts besides the actual king. And over time, it became more demographic, or where you had, if you could afford it, or if you were part of the elite, yes, you can actually get some of the same access. But to the common people, they never would have access to any of this.
So I'm gonna ask again, what is the difference between the Ntru Biddy's afterlife and mine? Because we are now in 2026 and we are privy to all the papyri, both Kaufman text and pyramid text. So what would be the difference? Because you said it was a difference. So I was wondering what was the difference, brother.
Well, let me bring you the difference. That I think you misheard what the difference is then and now. Back then, let's put you at 5,000 BCE. You would have been a peasant. You would not have had access to any of this information. Now, if you want to speed it up to 2026, we still don't have a full representation of what the sa.neter is in its completeness. We do not. So I think you still would be in the same position.
Okay, this is the issue. Okay, so when we look at the Hu-Nefer papyrus, Jabari shows this all the time, right? Hu-Nefer's regular man, regular person. He's not royalty. So that kind of even kills what you just said. This is why I was asking this. And when you look at the Hu-Nefer papyrus, I can pull it up, share it. I'm pretty sure Jabari shared it a million times. I'm pretty sure you even know what I'm talking about, right? You see that Hu-Nefer is guided to the chambers of Asar by Heru. So it doesn't sound like there's any type of difference. There's no difference, right? So I was going to ultimately ask you if the Ntru is Heru and associated with Heru. What is Heru doing when he's guiding the Ntru to the halls of Asar for him to become Asar? Because that is what you said in your presentation, that you become Asar. And you will literally see that within the depiction that it's Heru who leads you to the chambers of Asar. So I was just wondering, based off your understanding of the culture, how can that be?
Okay, so okay, let me give you this. Based on an understanding of the culture, are you suggesting that there are human beings walking around Duat in human form?
You're answering a question with a question, brother. That's wild.
No, it's not. It's not wild because I think it's very relevant, and it kind of puts your question in the context.
Not relevant.
It's very relevant. See what you
no, it's very scammy for you that you can't answer a question with the question. You never really answered the first question and showed me the difference between the actual my afterlife and then the Ntru's afterlife. You just theoretically said I'll be a peasant, which was kind of wild in itself, right? And then I have to give you the instance. You should know that the Kaufman texts are about just regular degulars. Pyramid text is when you get to talking royalty and things of that nature. Like this is like where the understanding of the culture comes in at, and that's when it kicks in at, though. Just a little bit.
I say, do you realize, bro, you repeat what I said?
Do I believe that there are human beings in the Duat? Why would there not be people in the Duat?
You are literally repeating what I said. I asked you, was there flesh and blood humans in Duat?
No, you cannot be flesh and blood in the Duat.
Okay, but you just said Heru was walking.
Yes, have you not seen the papyrus?
So I have seen the papyrus.
I didn't say he was walking. I never said he was walking. You implied that. I said he leads you to the chambers of Asar. Like you, and this is where you become the Asar. This, like you even said in your presentation. You say you become Asar in afterlife. Ain't that what you agree? You agree there, right? You said that, right?
So let me ask you this question.
Come on, bro. Why are you doing this like this?
No, I just want to know, because what
every time I ask you something, you don't answer.
You're taking mythology. You're taking mythology, and you're making that reality.
No, I'm not.
And that's what I'm trying to clarify.
No, bro. Your presentation said, "Did the people believe?" I'm just talking about the culture of the people, bro, and their understanding. We're dealing with. See, that's the problem, because you're not dealing with their work. You're not dealing with primaries. That's the whole issue. That's why you even having this contention, and it's going in this route that way, because you're dealing with all of this commentary, and so you can't really answer these questions. I'm gonna yield because I don't want to seem like I'm hating on you or anything crazy. I'm gonna let everybody else get in, so you see that it's not just me. I'm not the only person.
I just want to clarify something. JJ himself.
JJ's a pseudo. You beat him.
Listen, hold on. This is why my presentation is the way it is, because JJ specifically said that the sa.neter /Ntru were human beings. That's what my presentation dealt with. So if you're going to try to spin it outside of that, I mean, I can have that conversation too, but I'm just trying to bring clarity as to why my presentation is the way it is.
I get that, brother, and I respect your presentation. I really, that's a pseudo claim. That's a Tahuti claim. The Neteru or all the Heru walking around. I'm not asking about that. But you gave a reference within your presentation where you acknowledged a literal netter, a human being. So I wanted to hone in on that.
That's
because we can't just gloss
that's
that.
one aspect.
And that's why my original question was, can we agree that they are both? Because you gave an example of a literal one, but we do know that there are also non-literal ones as well, right? I was asking, can we agree there? You never said yes or no. You just asked the question with the question. You keep doing that.
Well, I can agree to a certain degree.
All right, we got to move on. Let me get Brother Gideon. You in the building, Gideon?
Yeah, I'm right here, sir. Shalom. All praise to the Most High. Name Yeshua. What's going on?
Go ahead, brother.
Basically, I do want to say peace to everybody and peace even to the, my brother Heru. This have nothing to, to do with, you as a person. It's just your presentation. But I just want to read something real quick, and I'll be done with it.
What are you reading, brother? What are you reading now, Gideon? All right, Gideon have lost the mic. Let's move on. Let me go on over to King J. King J, what it is, man? Nah, not King J yet, because King J, his brain is scrambled up right now. So let me go on over to the man who was one of the judges in the building. Let me go to one of the judges that was in the building who announced the winner to be Heru. And let me ask you, before you go into your question, brother, what was the reason you announced Brother Heru that he was the winner? Why would you announce him that? What did he do to make you realize this brother here, he won this debate?
Shout out to you, sa.neter. Shout out to the HOK, man. Shout out to everybody on the panel, man. Shout out to DMG, who hosted the debate, man, on Paradigm Shift TV 314. Shout out to Heru, who I voted for. And the reason why I voted for him is because, as I showed in the debate, I think that his interlocutor wasn't able to prove the actual premise and the title of the debate. So what I did learn from his interlocutor was the coronation rites that we saw that he showed that occurred in the 18th dynasty at times. That wasn't the debate, right? Brother Heru, as I showed, actually broke down that in every instance, right, where you saw the suits of pharaohs or these ontological entities or beings, that these weren't all considered literal beings, the people. And I think when you talk about the 18th dynasty, I think the brother just showed it a little while ago. I think JJ pretty much wasn't able to overcome his arguments. And I think on the very last slide, he posed a question, I think in a debate. I can't recall what it was, but he posed a question, and I was just like, well, according to his premise and everything he laid out, he just overall proved his premise. He actually had a better argument, right? He actually overall had a better argument than what the other brother did.
Okay.
So that's why I voted for him. I think a lot of people, if a debater, if he brings sources to the debate, or if he brings primaries to the debate, or he brings none at all, that as a judge, for me personally, just let me say this: that's not my position to say whether or not this brother bought primaries or whether or not his information lined up with his source. I'm not debating the debaters.
Right.
That's his opponent's job to call that out.
Exactly. I agree with you.
That's not my job. It's not my job to vet his sources as he's debating. That's not my job.
Fact.
My job is his argument. Is he making a persuasive argument? Is he sticking to the premise? And then DMG on the show, they have a rubric. They have a rule, how you score it, right? Just like a fighter, right? It's just like you go into a ring. It don't matter how good your opponent locks. If you're the champ, you pretty much got to knock the champ out.
Right.
I don't care how well you fought and outscored him. You know what I'm saying? If you the champ, you got to TKO the champ. You see what I'm saying?
That's
to
right.
Get a win. You see what I'm saying?
So yeah, right. Did Heru knock him out?
I think he did in the first round, to be honest. But that's not my job to. That's not my job to say that, or even look at it that way. And they showed it. I didn't just pick. I don't have a dog in the fight.
Right. Correct.
So I just looked at what both debaters presented. Did they stick with the premise of the debate?
Of the topic, yep.
Of the topic, and I don't think Heru missed a step with that.
All right, let me go on over to DMG right quick, because I know after the debate, my brother DMG, good brother DMG, JJ 7000 went on a rant, and I think I seen two videos where he went at you. Why would he go at you when you're not the judge? He went at you. He lost the debate and accusing you of setting him up, man. What's going on here, brother DMG?
Because what we dealing with is an immature imbecile, and I gotta take responsibility for thinking if you show an imbecile, an idiot, disrespectful piece of trash brotherhood, that they have stopped being an imbecile and a disrespectful piece of trash. So I showed the brother brotherhood. I created a title on my channel and gave it to him, and none of that came to his brain when he lost. All he could think of is, there's no way I can lose, so I must have gotten set up, because there's no way this marble mouth idiot can lose a debate. And so at the end of the day, if I was at home or had access to my computer, I would show you a woman by the name of Queen Mother Ntru Kitty Heru, out of the Temple of Heru, that I belonged to for about 5-6 years, something like that. She's been a Kemetic practitioner since she was 21 years old. She's 55 now. She teach kids age 4 all the way through middle school. She keep tabs on them even in high school. She help them with their homework, make sure they straight with regards to tutoring. She teach them table etiquette. She teach them how to speak in public, all of that. This woman who do this in her nonprofit took time to judge this debate for me, because he wanted somebody who was an expert on Kemet. Now, this woman has a degree in human services, and then she has a degree in Africana studies. I thought it was a history degree. I've been saying that. I apologize for that. It is an Africana studies degree, though. And her main focus of study is ancient Kemet, or ancient Egypt. My point is, she know what she's talking about more than he could ever imagine to know what he's talking about. Yet, in his feeble brain, he think he know more than her. She gave my scoring, my scorecard go up to 50. You can get as high as 50 points. Elder Yara graciously gave him 41. out of 50. He gave Heru 46. The sister gave him 21 out of 40. She gave Heru 38. And she critiqued both of them. She had critiques for Heru. She had things that she thought Heru could have did better. But ultimately, his focus on the kingship versus the Ntru as expressions and symbols of nature is what got him the loss. You can't, if you're talking about the Neter / Ntru, you can't just focus on the king. You got to focus on all of the rest of these deities. And that was her point. She broke it down as clearly as you could break something down. So how he thought I set him up or I had anything to do with the voting is beyond me. And then, of course, he had to get into I'm a coward. I'm this, I'm that, calling me out my name. And so he did the typical JJ Marble Mouth method of denying that he took a L. He texted me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why. And I shout out to brother Jabari. Jabari, I want you to be careful, brother. I really do. I want you to be careful. I want you to keep your head on a swivel. I want you to make sure you're looking behind trash cans. I want you to, when you're on the subway, I want you to be careful, because I've never seen another man obsess about another man the way that man obsessed about you. That man has issues that he needs to deal with when it comes to his unrequited desire for you, brother. And I want you to be careful and watch your back, because if he ever get in your vicinity, I'm afraid he is going to try to reach out and touch you. And I know you don't want that, and I don't want that for you. But that brother has an unhealthy focus on you. So watch your back. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Shout out to my brother Sa. Congratulations to my brother Heru. I'm glad y'all finally hooked up. You did a great presentation, brother. Had an excellent debate. Shout out to Elder Yara for keeping it honest. And Sa, keep doing what you're doing. Like I say, the reason all of us is on YouTube is because of the example you laid down for us. And we're going to keep trying to make you proud. Salute.
All right, man. Thank you, DMG. All right, let me go on over to King J. What it is, King J?
Man, what it do, sir?
What's happening, brother?
Can't call it. Good debate. Stop. Trying to catch you on the chest. Let me know when you're ready. I know you don't run from me. We 2-2.
I'm running, man, because people. I can't really play when people constantly keep calling me. You don't even know. You can only imagine how many times I get a call.
I can respect
that. Only 2-2 because people be calling me, man. you saying I was killing your ass, man.
Hey, it's fine. We're gonna have to play it one time when ain't nobody calling, just so we can.
And Paul hit me up, and that was it, man. I was like, oh man, see, I tell you, I was like playing chess. I can't talk chess, and still
figure it out.
But yo, man, you supposed to be on zip, 4 zip.
Stop playing. We're gonna figure it out, sir. We're gonna figure it out.
Every game, King J, you was down and out, brother.
You came back on your ass. Stop playing.
Yeah, of course, you came back.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah, what's up?
Put me on the other screen side so I can kind of see it when I'm talking to him. So I kind of wanted to address the little brother a little bit. So peace to Heru, good win on the debate. I kind of hold to the sentiments in regards to that they're actually both. I think in your argument that you're literally just denying that the Pharaoh was a Ntru itself, and that's the issue that I have with your debate presentation. Outside of the fact that I saw not one source, you did mention the British Museum, but I don't see how you can have a meta-netter debate with no meta-netter. So you would have to have referenced at least one text. I didn't hear one reference of a text. So can you, in your answer response, can you reference one text, actual script, not text, not the museum, in your debate? Also, I want you to address, because you make the assumption, which I think is a logical fallacy, that the Pharaoh is only divine at the coronation. And that's completely false, right? I'm going to give you a text, right? Let's see how I'm going to do this. Instruction America. That is the text. You can go and find what I'm saying to you, right? So it says, the king was chosen in the womb, right? In the womb before being created. So if the king is already chosen in the womb before the king is created, wouldn't that make the king the Ntru before coronation? Also, coronation is only for the people, right? In the sight of the people. The fact that the king is coronated lets you know that he's already divine, right? So when we look at text where it says the Pharaoh's flesh is lapping,
what's your question?
Okay, that is the question. I was just paraphrasing it, because when we look at the text, it says the Pharaoh's flesh is gold and lapis lazuli is his hair, which are all divine.
All right, King J, real quick, and then I'm gonna say this, and then I need you to ask the brother a question.
That is the question.
You said you can't see how the brother can do something.
Sorry, don't take up for it, brother. Let him.
Hold on. You said you don't see how a brother. Shake your head, I say. You don't see how a brother could do a presentation on the Ntru system without the Ntru, without breaking down the metal Ntru. Brother, people do it every day. They do debates on Christianity without reading the Greek, without breaking down the Greek. They do it all the time on the Hebrew Israelites without going into the Hebrew. What are you talking about? So come on, King J, right there. That's flawed. That's big BS. But go ahead and ask your question, brother.
Yeah, so you had to put me in the back to say that. But yeah, I understand that the brother is a guest and you protecting the guest, but this is the toughest environment, sir. When it's wrong, information is wrong. I gave the brother a primary source, the instructions of America, that just showed that the Pharaoh was a divine in the womb before he was born. So I want him to deal with that. And I also want him to deal with how he does the presentation. Just because a lot of people do it, don't make it right, sir.
Oh, yeah.
So we talking about what's right. I want him to answer it, though.
Go ahead.
How can he do a whole presentation on sa.neter without sa.neter? So that's the question, and I want to know what actual primary text you use. I saw the museum, but I want to know what text. Go ahead.
Okay, so again, brother, this debate was not a grammatical debate, so there was no reason for me to actually get into the actual Metsu, or the Metsutu, I should say. But what I will tell you, and to answer your question, just to give you a perfect example, all of these, the British Museum, they're dealing with the primary source. They're dealing with the Imhotep II offering to Amun-Ra. The same thing with the with Tutankhamun possibly represented in the guise of Happy. That's also at the British Museum. It's highlighted as EA75. All of these are primaries, bro. These are archaeological and primary material. So I don't know where you keep saying or what you JJ keep missing out of this, but I got 7 of those literally, and I got 3 scholarly and museum synthesis to corroborate.
So Brother Reggie would go into that same museum and say everything that museum says wrong. So you can't just say that just because you're posting something from a museum, that's your primary. I want the text so we can read it and see what it say. If you can't read the text, that's fine. But we still, those that can, we want to be able to post the text. So if you're talking about what the people actually believe, you need the text to show what the people actually said, right? So that's what I'm saying to you. Secondly, I want you to deal with the point in regards to the coronation of the king. I gave you the instruction of America where it said that the king was already divine before birth. What do you think of that? Say to that.
Okay, well, let me address what you said first. Okay, so
that is what I said first. That's what I said first. I want to stay on the point. I want you to give me a long, drawn out theological. I want you to answer a direct question. What do you think about the instructions?
Be quiet for a second and allow me to answer.
I haven't answered. I haven't asked it yet.
Well, you did.
So in regard to the.
Okay, look, man. If you're just gonna talk,
I want you to answer.
I was trying to answer something you just said because you're trying to downplay the actual.
That's another answer, King J. Go ahead.
You're trying to downplay the actual information that I presented from the British Museum, from the Metropolitan Museum, and even from the UCL and others. The part you're not missing is these are resources for educators. in these fields. So they're not just someone's opinion. These actually have some consensus behind them. So how dare you, with your armchair expertise, come up here and tell me that these aren't credible sources?
Armchair expertise. All right.
Now I want you to answer the question. Now, can you answer the question? I asked you a specific question in regards to the instruction of Merikah, where it says the king is divine in the womb before birth. What do you say to that?
I mean, my question was never that my.
It's not, brother. I'm not. Right, it's an answer. I want you to answer it, not ask me another question. You did the same thing what I say. These are deflection tactics.
I'm not asking you a question. I'm not asking you a question. I need you to be quiet so I can. All right. So what you're talking about, as far as here, let me clarify this one more time for you. I never denied that the king was divine. That's not what the debate was about. In fact, I endorsed it on one of my slides. So I'm not understanding this line of questioning, bro. Please help.
So you conceded to his point, and that's one of the debate that was the judge.
I'm back. Can I go before the Nile Valley Scholar Reggie shut it down?
No, because you went already. I got it.
I dropped.
Oh yeah, that's true. Go ahead, get it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. So yeah, so when I was reading, I was speaking of first the title. I say, speaking of the titles, are the netter literal? Would you say it's rather ambiguous, meaning that's like debating, are dogs literal or is the wind literal? In my opinion, the title is incomplete, meaning if I debated, is a dog literal, it only begs the question, is a dog literally what? And I ask AI your thoughts. Yes, I agree with your basic point where the netter literal is ambiguous and arguably incomplete as a debate resolution. The problem is that literal is not a self-contained category. It is an adjective that normally modifies what kind of claim you're making. For example, were the netter literal beings? Were the netter literal gods? Did Egyptians believe the netters actually existed? These are different questions. Your dog analogy illustrates the problem well, asking, is a dog literal? So he goes to different interpretations. These can be interpreted as different things. That's why I say he left it open-ended. That's why Brother Reggie won, because interpretation says it can either be literal beings, 2, literal physical beings, 3, literal historical events, or 4, literal gods. Now getting to Brother Heru. So that's when I asked, according to interpretation 1, which was literal beings, would they have been considered literal beings? Yes, under interpretation 1, the evidence supports saying that the ancient Egyptians regarded the netter as literal or real divine beings. And I'm going to end with this, and it's a question to Heru, because the debate topic you had was, were they literal beings, not literal human beings? So if JJ chose to take the topic, were they human beings, then you have a much better chance of winning. But if it's just literal beings, then I think JJ won that debate. But the problem with JJ is he had that debate for about 10 years in his pocket. So it wasn't fluid enough to conform with Heru's argument. And I yield.
Hey, thank you, Gideon, because you just proved.
All right, Conscious, you can all respond, Conscious.
Yeah, JJ had made it human. He specifically said human beings. And so right then and there, I knew he messed up. You cannot make every last Neteru a human being. You can't. Even if you want to use the king as an example, as Neter, that's just one aspect. You're not looking at the entire category. And that was his downfall.
So they're both.
What about literal beings?
Well, literal beings, again, it comes down to how you define literal. It becomes a qualifying question. You have to define what you consider as literal. And we can't sit here and conflate real and literal. Those are two different things.
Well, a being without metaphor is a human.
I yield. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I just
Hey, sa.neter, you muted.
Yeah. Let me put King J in the back because he keeps speaking out of order. So let me put King J in the back. And let me go on over to Daniel Heru. What up, brother?
Peace.
Turn on your camera, Daniel. Turn on your camera.
Can you hear me? I got you.
Yep, I can hear you. What's up, brother?
All right, man. I want to say peace to the chat, peace to sa.neter TV. And this is an interesting type of thing that's been going on. One, I want to say when Gideon's talking and he's saying about, is a dog literal? I think a better question and example that's going on would be, is Snoopy literal? When we're talking about Snoopy.
There you go.
That would be a better example, because we know that Snoopy is a dog that's played on a cartoon, but no one would say that he's literal, but he may be real on the cartoon. Right. So that's one thing, right? And when we start talking about the netters, and I mean, big shout outs to Reggie and everyone else. I wish that somehow you and Jabari could kill this. I think it's to a point, it kills the community to see two of y'all go at it so much. But eventually y'all will figure that out one way or another. But when we started talking about are the Neteru literal, and we start talking about them, and we looking at the Neteru, right? And we start talking about, did the people believe them in their day? And it's something that John Henry Clark said when he was talking. He was having a debate. I think her name is Lewiswicz, and he said, well, let's not say that that they didn't write well, but they could believe what they saw. And when we start talking about the Neteru, right, is how they portrayed them in temples, or how they gave them offerings, and people use that, like they gave them offerings, they prayed to them. But when they gave them offerings, did they expect for those offerings to somehow disappear, like when they gave them fruit, or was it more of a symbolic meaning to it? So
symbolic. It was symbolic.
Exactly. That tells you that they didn't think of that as literal. Now, I want to just ask a question. This is something that they would have a statue and they would pray with, right? This is Asar, right? This right here is another thing they would pray to. This would be Ra, right? Now, when they prayed to these deities, would they expect to see a deity in a shape or form like this? Or was it more symbolic? Was there some type of symbolism and divine meaning behind that they represented in principle? These are what ordinary people, if they were doing, just no different that when you go to church and Christians, and I grew up as a Catholic, we used to take the blood and the body of Jesus in mass. Did we really honestly think that we were taking the physical, a literal blood and of Jesus during that communion session? No, we knew, and this is regular people. We're not priests. We're not rabbis. We're not cardinals. We understood the symbolic meaning of what that communion was every single time we did it. So what would be the evidence, or what would make someone say that those people back then praying to and offering to statues and figurines that represents divine power and forces were literal? And that's what I mean by literal. We know that the sun is literal. We know that. But we know that Atan is not literal. So somebody can help me out with that and tell me what would make someone believe that they would think that that was a literal Neteru, as it's shown once again like this.
So I can explain a few things. So the problem is, and that was from what I've seen, that was a really good debate. And you extended the ideas of what could be literal, and you put it in a very specific domain, right? So you were narrow, but you were flexible, and that's okay, and that's good scholarship. The conflation and confusion comes with playing with words that we don't really understand. Literal exists in itself. So does the Neteru. Literal is a word in English that talks about meaning, right? it simply talks about meaning. It's for communication processes. So we take this modern English word, and when we're examining, let's say, Sumerian culture, or we are examining ancient Egypt culture, then we have to put that word, those things, in that particular domain, only in that domain. So the scholars say that Ntru is related to existence, and existence is relating to what those people saw or thought about and that existed. Right now, you're correct.
All right, my brother Reggie. I want to get it to my brother. This is his presentation. Do you have a question for Heru Consciousness?
Well, I think that since I had a debate on your platform, and that this is extending past your platform, and that I was never ever able to put in my side of the story,
which you had an opportunity to, because
I did not. I put it up. You said I don't want, you said what you said about the reason why, and I accepted that. But I accepted a gentleman's debate on your platform. No judges, no hard rules, no nothing. So I could just simply, if that's what you care, right, about, because I'm real upset about us having a so-called gentleman's debate, right, a flexible general debate, and all of a sudden I get scrutinized and I don't get a retort.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about, brother Reggie?
Did he put his analysis of the debate on? Yes.
Yes.
Did I put my analysis on the debate on?
Did I ask you? Did you want it to? Did I ask you?
You told me that you don't want to talk about it with me
anymore. No. Just when Jabari did his show, I hit you up and I said, brother Reggie, you can respond if you want to. You can do your own show. You told me no.
And I did, and you said I began, and it got taken down. So
no, that's because you was talking about Baba Heru, who had passed on, Reggie. And I said, no, we're not gonna be talking about Baba Heru. You was associating Jabari with Baba Heru, and Baba Heru and Jabari messing up Baba Heru. And I said, no, that's not fair, brother. You can't use a brother who just passed on, especially his teacher.
Well, you just heard Baba Heru.
You crossing the line when you do all of that, Reggie.
You just heard Baba Heru. Actually, right. Baba Heru is the origin of the teacher and a better teacher.
Yeah, but that's cool though. But you can't get up here.
Okay, could I talk about Professor Small? Could I talk about Professor Small?
No.
And wait, could I talk about the assortum of Dr. Yosef Ben-Jochannan, which I helped write? Could I talk about that? Because I helped write that. Everybody's seen that.
Do that got anything to do with the debate with you and Jabari?
Yes.
Okay, well, yeah, you can talk about that.
Okay, good.
But so, yeah, that's cool.
So let me ask Heru a few questions.
All right, go ahead, bro.
Okay. So your definition of, this is the quickest one. What comes first, the literal or the figurative or the symbolic? What comes first? And Heru, I like your work.
The literal comes first, Reggie.
Hey, yo.
The literal comes first.
Okay, great. So sa.neter was right, and you were right. So the literal comes first. So now, if the Ntru is there are different categories of Ntru, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, the first human Neter that we know is what they call Terra-neter, but it's not really Terra-neter. His name is just Neter. Neter, this is Dr. Diop used him. He's the Anu priest. His name is Neter. Now, he's a Neter. Now there is Neterket. Neterket, we know, is Zoser, right? And then there are several other kings with the Neter name on it. So these are kings, and their personal names are Neters, right? So they are associating themselves with Neters. So you answered my question. Literal comes first. So then, if literal comes first, and then symbolic and figurative, then we have to examine the particular categories. I think that you did a great job. I think that you did a great job. I didn't hear the other side, but if we pull out not the gymnastics, and you didn't offer any gymnastics, it was just straight what I would have done. But if I would have done that, I would have been disqualified because I didn't put page numbers on it. So that's another problem, right? But I thought in Black News 102 we could get our points out without specifically. We could do page numbers and we could do page number ranges, right? I didn't know that that was going to be a problem. So the second question is the Apis bull, right? So we know that is the Happy-Ankh Hep, right? The living bull. Is the Happy-Ankh Hep, is it a literal nature being?
Yes, it would be the yes, it would be yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, so listen, I like your presentation. I like your work. I think it was just straight scholarship. I don't disagree. I just because it was very narrow. So respect to you, and we can go on to the other people. But if I get an opportunity to talk about a Sardom, and I won't use Baba Heru, but I will use Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan, right? Because that's what the people believe, then that should be fair. But my last thing is, and it's a comment, Jabari, whatever his name is, right, is a poor student of his teacher, because I know what his teacher taught, right? And I had agreement with his teacher, and I had some disagreement with his teacher, but he's a poor student. And in my series, that's where I'm going to do off your channel, right? He's a poor student.
Yes, I don't have anything to do with what you do off my channel. That's cool. You can do what you want. But over here, Reggie, now we done with that. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. I'm trying to get the people to put cash apps back into your pocket.
No,
and you don't want no cash
apps. My cash apps because
you don't want no cash apps no more. You saying?
No.
Wait, okay. You don't want nobody to support your cash app no more. You saying?
No. What I'm saying is, listen to the word that I used. I'm clear. It ruined my cash apps because it was a one-sided 10,000 view analysis from somebody who's never ever written a paper.
Know, Reggie, when I was a child, when I was a kid, I used to blame everybody else for my fault until I realized that I had to take responsibility for myself, and everything that I do wrong, I bring on myself. I learned that. And then what I had to do, I had to correct that and stop.
You're not Yahweh.
Hold on.
Wait, don't talk about child.
Hold on, brother.
Far more education.
All right, good. What I'm saying, your education is not leading you in the smart direction. So you can have all the education you want, but if you don't know how to get money, and you just down in your own system, that's on you, brother. But I come from the street, and I've always been a hustler in Harlem, and so I know how to hustle. I know how to get money. That was my college right there. My college come out of the goddamn street, and I've been doing this for so long without the white man, getting money, putting money in my pocket without the white man, brother. And that was done for like damn near going on 30 years now, without working for the white man, still being able to pay my rent, my bills, never been late on none of that. So evidently I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing something right. And so what I'm telling you, brother, is let that go now, Reggie. You beat Jabari down. He's not even thinking about you no more. It'll be wise, it'll be in your best interest to let it go, get back on track, and let's get these cash apps. There's a lot of cash apps out there, brother, and we're not getting none of them. They send right about that, people, and I hope they send it to everybody else except us. But we gotta get it back together, bro.
Right, but while I'm not okay, listen, I didn't take the debate for money, sir. I gave a flat fee, something that you could live with.
I appreciate that.
I took a flat fee. I didn't go into no analytics. I didn't go and count your pockets. I didn't do that. I took it for the people. But because I took it for the people, the problem was a one-sided view of the debate with what my errors and not his errors. And we can move on from that because I have a strategy for that.
Yeah. Let's move on, man, because it's just beating a dead horse, brother.
Well,
people want to see you do your thing, and you the best when it comes to teaching and research.
I have been doing my thing, but I have been doing my thing, and then I put up I put up two shows having nothing to do with the debate, not at all.
And Brother Lai said, "Oh, I was wondering why the video came down, and so now I know." I'm hoping, Brother Lai, you're not saying I'm wrong for that. I'm hoping you're not saying I'm wrong, because what our brother Reggie was attempting to do was bring up Baba Heru, who is now an ancestor, and accused Jabari of somehow tearing down Baba
Heru.
And that's not a
praise Baba Heru, but at the same time, I was going to say that the dude is a poor student. And
yes, and that's not good, brother. That's not a good look. Okay. And that's, look, I'm your real friend, brother. You don't see it. You see me as against you when I'm really for you, Reggie, because guess what I did? I'm going to come right back to you, Heru. I called Unc immediately. I said, yo, Unc, please talk to our brother Reggie. Ask him, he'll tell you. He said, what's going on, sir? I said, he got Baba Heru up there, and he's getting ready to use Jabari against Baba Heru. You know what Unc told me? Unc told me, sir, let him do it, brother. That's a good thing, brother. Let him do it. I said, what, Unc? I said, you just as effing sick as hell. Just like that. Because if it was someone else passed away in your family or one of your teachers or somebody, you wouldn't want that. So that's why I'm telling you, I'm a real true friend of yours. All the other ones are just trying to put batteries in your back, brother.
Well,
just to go at Jabari. And while they hands stay clean, let me use Reggie to be the forerunner. Let me put Reggie at the cannon fire and put him in the front. And that's what they doing. They using you. I'm not talking about Brother La or nobody. I really don't think Brother La would do that. He ain't using you. But I'm talking about all these other nuts.
Nah. Well,
I'm telling you, bro.
There were 2 videos taken down. The first video was taken down because I might have had some background that got striked. So
might, hold up. You said might?
Well, I never saw it, but you said it, so I accept it.
Hold on, Reggie. Didn't I tell you to jump on the live and look at it right now? What did you tell me?
I said I'll take your word for it.
Right. And I said no. And I still got it. I took a screenshot of it right here. You want me to show it? I got a screenshot of it where they said, where you gotta you ain't get a strike, but they said they blocked it. They blocked the whole video. Matter of fact, let me show it so you'll know that I don't be bull crapping, brother. And y'all think I took the video down.
We can move on. Yeah. You can send it to me. We don't have to show the people that.
No, I want to show the people. I want to show the people so you would never be able to bring that up again. And there it is right there. They blocked your video all over, brother. And I said, Reggie, you need to come look at it so you won't say, oh, I'm lying. And so you said, no, I'm good. I said, nope, I'm going to take a screenshot. And there it is right there. They blocked your video all over. You see the red line? See the X's? I was like, damn, what the hell is Reggie showing?
But okay, so it says no impact to the channel. So what they did is they
no impact to the channel, but they blocked it.
No,
and not only did they block it, I think they blocked the my views too, where they say, all right, we ain't gonna send out.
I'll take the advantage, but I just read it. Okay. So it says no impact to your channel, so it could have stayed up. But for your business, you thought that it could come down, and I accept that. But I just read it where it was blocked, right? It wasn't completely taken. It was blocked in certain places. I accept that. The second video was the video with Baba Heru. I understand your reasons. I'll do it somewhere else. We cool.
Right.
Me and you, we cool. All right.
If I was you, I wouldn't even touch that, brother. That's an ancestor.
Okay, but I'm gonna touch it, and it has nothing to do with him.
You know, my mother used to tell me a hard head make a soft ass.
Yeah.
You know, my mom used to tell me that all the time, brother.
And that's right. But your wishes are on your channel, and I respect it. And I respect the presentation that I just saw with Heru. It was a very good presentation. And I will unless I get another chance, I will let the video play so you can move on and Heru could.
All right, let's move on. Hey, yo, Jose, what up, Jose?
What's up? What's up? Good afternoon.
You got anything you want to say to Heru?
Yes, congratulations for being, we call him the champ on our platform.
Well, he's the new champ over there on DMG.
And we are happy that the brother is in the position because we got rid of he who shall not be named. That is what I call the individual. So we're happy that he's over there. We love the brother. We're going to carry him on our shoulders regardless of whether he has the belts or not. Because he's a good brother and we need to recognize his hard work. We don't want to hear Reggie crying over the video, messing up the brother's video, because you can't respect him if you're going to spend 20 minutes talking about a debate that's already dead, bro. Let the man have his chance. This is his victory tour. We don't want you to ruin the brother's victory tour. That's all I want to say. And in the next 15 minutes, he's going to be on Paradigm Shift again. So you guys can tune in over there and come and check the brother and help us out, right? So congrats, brother. You are a champion, and you're going to be a champion with or without the belt. Don't let these uneducated people like King J, who don't understand what E, A to Z means. It means it is a primary artifact that's credited to Wallace Bud. That's what it means. And if you don't know, you should go and down and look on the museum website. I can't stand when you open your mouth because you don't say nothing with sense. Everything he presented was a primary source. You clearly
Why is my name in your mouth so much, Jose?
Because I don't like you.
The debate is about Heru, not me. Quit talking about me. Talk about Heru, not me.
On the platform.
Brother, I don't even know you exist. I don't know you exist.
In your toilet.
Talk about Heru, not me, brother. You seem like a fanboy. You seem like you're infatuated with me.
No, I'm not infatuated.
Every time you speak, you mention my name. I don't even know you exist, brother. Find somebody else to think about.
Okay, we have a few other people on the panel who need to speak, sa.neter.
Cool. I spoke to everybody. Let me go back to Heru, conscious. All right.
You spoke to everybody? You got Yara?
Yeah, I got Yara.
Okay, I'm not going to be up here long. Do you mind if I just say something and then I'm going to leave?
Go ahead, Nepal.
Okay, I just wanted to bring up great presentation. This was great. All the presentations over here are great. But I did want to address our brother's statement, Daniel Heru, when you said that Catholics don't see the bread and the wine as literal blood and flesh. They actually do. In Catholicism, it's called transubstantiation, and they see the wine and the bread as the literal flesh of Christ and the blood of Christ. So they don't see it as symbolic. That once it's blessed, they think they say it is the literal flesh, the real flesh of Christ and the real blood of Christ. That was very important for me to point out because he used that as an example.
Yeah, and Nepal, let me let you know right now, live in front of the world, that Jabari will be ready for you on this Thursday.
No, so, I can't. What do you mean? You just pick dates for me now?
No, you said you wanted to debate him. You should have all that ready. Did Jesus?
Yeah, but I'm doing a real debate, like an actual pay-per-view.
All right. So you don't want to do the debate?
I want to do a pay-per-view debate with Jabari. We already discussed that. Yeah.
Okay, so he don't know he's doing a pay-per-view. He think he's
we can talk to him after off the live.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, but yes, the blood and the flesh is literal in Catholicism because he said they don't think it's the literal flesh. That is not true.
I think I'm going with you on this debate too, Nepal. I want you to know that. I think you're going to beat Jabari on this debate.
Okay.
With Jesus, what's the topic? How it goes? The existence of Christ. Was it real? How it go, Nepal?
Historicity of Christ.
All right, the historicity of Christ.
So you're a believer now?
No, I'm not a believer. I know who debates well, and sometimes people win debates that don't have to be right. It's strategy.
All right. I hope you really listen to the information because I would like for you
just like
to
you
start.
King J. I want you to debate King J too because he really think he got beat King J butt up, man.
No, I'll let King J debate others, but I do want to say I hope you, sa.neter, do actually sit down for once and start listening to the roundtable that we did last week. I think we're doing one today. The information that is presented, so you can really make a clear decision, not just always go with it because that's what you've heard in the past. So I just wanted to talk about the transubstantiation. And so thank you so much. Peace to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and take myself down off the panel. Peace.
All right. Heru, you got anything you want to bring out?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say one thing in response to Brother Reggie. You know how he asked the question, does literal predate, myth and symbolism or symbolic? It absolutely does. But when we look at this thing, you know how the ancients, they had a thing called animism, where at one point fire became a god, water became a god. What our ancestors in ancient Kemet did is and a lot of times they gave names to natural phenomena. And so you gotta imagine, by the time like when Narmer first come in, these concepts were already in place. They were rocking. So if the king is becoming something, he's becoming something that's already established, and that wasn't established as necessarily a human being because we have, again, the lack of evidence. There's no archaeological evidence. There's none of that. And then one final other point I wanted to make, even from the 18th dynasty, when you look at Akhenaten and his worship of Aten, he believed Aten was the literal sun.
Mm-hmm.
And we have proof of that.
Sun disk.
Yes, sir.
The sun disk. Well, I think that you're correct. There's some things that we will never know. And then you use the important term called syncretism, where things change, where one thing completely morphs into another thing over time. And that shows your expertise. And so it's fluid, right? There's fluidity in this. The ancient people might have thought one thing, and then later when they thought about it, and then they kind of reassembled their thinking, it became something else. So your methodology, which we don't use good on this platform, your methodology is very good because you're using words that are tied to methodology instead of just going all over the place just to try to win. So I don't want to say anything more. I like your methodology. I saw where you was going with your slides. The problem is with a lot of people, they shift and move the goalposts, and then they do it with fancy words as if they said something smart, but they will never write it. You wrote everything, almost like me, a script with your points, and you played your script instead of just going all over the place. I don't want to say anything more. Good methodology, sir. And I'd like to talk to you further. I think me and you could have good conversations.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
All right. My brother Yara, you got anything you want to add on before we move out? Yara, you there? Okay.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry, Si. Yeah, I'm here, man. Hey, real quick, yeah, man. I just want to say, man, overall, it was a good debate. Shout out to the HOK, man. This has been hot, man. I'm seeing everybody around.
You know, your man is mad at you, man.
Who?
Mandinka. Who else?
Man, look, man. Hey, like I said, I don't judge. I don't judge the sources. I don't vet the sources. That's up to each other who's debating each other. That's up to them to point out what's wrong. If he feel like Heru didn't do enough, I didn't see Mandinka, man, rebut any of Heru's sources or his argument directly. That's just what it is. Hey, it's just what it is, bro. So,
well, you know, Mandinka's a comedic scholar now.
Well, look, man.
Yeah, he's a scholar now. He's the comedic scholar.
Hey, man, shout out to anybody, man, who wants to increase in knowledge, man. But again, I'm not taking it, I'm not taking nothing away from him. If that's how he feel, man, he want to put it down, then he gotta,
All right. I say, you got anything else you want to drop?
You doing anything else today, sir?
Yeah, I got this right here coming up at 5 o'clock, where we got the Dahomey coming up in here.
Oh my God!
You're gonna go in. They're gonna deal with the transatlantic slave trade. You
Why,
know,
man?
the Atlantic diaspora, huh?
Why?
No, I was man, Black Sage.
Yes, I don't know. The Dahomies, they not playing. They coming for the crown, man.
They not gonna make it this way, man.
Yeah, this ain't the way to go.
So now listen to the audience. It's hurting your channel, Sa.
How?
They're hurting your channel because they're not good researchers on the subject. They started this thing trying to big up the Dahomey when that's one of the last places you needed to big up. There's so much more about African culture, but calling themselves the street Dahomies, like we don't like Dahomies in the street, right? And we don't like the Dahomies in West Africa. So you're hurting your channel. You just don't know it.
Yes, for a group of Africans who fought Europeans just so they could keep on enslaving other Africans is insane to me. Like if that ain't Uncle Tom at its best. Well, let me ask you this, Si. Let me ask you this, Si, in closing. What would Khalid Muhammad say about that behavior?
I can't tell you what Khalid would say.
Yeah, yes, you do.
No, I can't tell you what Dr. Khalid would say. He got his own mind, brother.
Hey, Si, I got a dagger for the Dahomey on this whole issue. But I'm gonna save it until after they think. I'm gonna save it, bro.
I say, did you get the fire together? The Canada joint or not?
That's why I asked Si what he was doing today, because I was gonna go live and stuff. I had a flyer up, but I'll probably wait till a little bit later.
We can do that.
So let me Morpheus and Yara. My phone has been down, but I think that Morpheus is coming on with Yara. They were doing a cold case of the death or murder of Jesus Christ. So can somebody post a link? Because I don't know if it's GLO. I don't know nothing about it. So can we post a link to at least to the channel? And then
they're gonna send you a link, Reggie. They're gonna send you a link.
Did they put up something already?
No, just for the channel. So then we need a link to the channel.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Morpheus, so we can reach out to Morpheus. I'm sure he'll do that, but he did talk to me about that, so I know he's ready to go this evening. I know he reached out to a few other people, so we're expecting the usual suspects on that.
Yeah,
we need your queen in on that, bro, because she got to come. We need her to get back.
Yeah,
but we need the link to the channel. We need to.
I don't have it, but I'm gonna get it. That's true.
I'm getting it right now. Reg.
I appreciate you, Reggie. I appreciate you, Dr. Reggie, for that. I appreciate you,
brother Yara. I'm trying to promote.
I'm getting the link right now, Reggie.
Okay, thanks.
I gotta take I gotta take that part out where it says podcast. Now I'm gonna do that later on too in a few.
But it's cool. It's cool, man. Shout out to Morpheus, man.
Because we're not doing it on the big channel. We're gonna do it on a little channel. But
I'm gonna be on the big channel promoting, running the people over there. I gotta promote it.
Okay.
So as y'all over there, I'm gonna be on my channel, sending people over there.
But it will be the cold case, continuation of the cold case.
The link is in the chat, Reggie.
Okay,
the link is in the chat.
Let me get the link.
You got the Glow podcast on. I'm gonna get that off of there soon.
Yeah, Reggie, I think every week is gonna be a different topic, Reggie.
We're gonna end that. We're gonna end that the first half. I talked to Morpheus, so we're gonna the first half of the show. We're gonna go back in on that cold case and come, and just let everybody get their conclusion on it. And then the second half, we're gonna go into a whole different topic. I think that the audience is gonna like. Shout out to Morpheus, man. He really put in the work. He really put in the work.
Okay, so put the link on the big screen. Put the link on the big screen so that people can at least see the
Reggie,
link.
you can do that, right, Reggie?
I don't have the link to the channel. I don't know.
You have this link. You can put it on the big screen, brother.
Oh, but I need your permission, yo.
I said put it on there. You can do it.
Okay, so let me go find where the thing is. Sorry, and
I forgot. So I had it. I put it up.
Yeah, it's up. Suntan put it up.
Appreciate you, Suntan.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Peace to
Hey,
everybody.
while y'all doing that, I'm going out of here right now with my man Heru. He made a song for JJ. Peace and blessings. Hey, Heru, do you got anything else you want to say before I end it with this song?
Yes, sir, Elder. I just wanted to tell you, I definitely appreciate you, man, for having me on the platform again, and at least having this opportunity to share my work. I look forward to actually working with you all soon, if that's a possible thing.
Yes, man.
And,
you're always welcome, brother. My casa, your casa, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I just wanted to redirect everybody over to, I do have a channel myself, which I'm revamping and getting going. It is the Heavy Hitters Debate League. We are partnered with Paradigm Shift TV 314. So we got a lot of good things coming off that platform as well. And I welcome every last one of y'all to that. So
Heavy Hitters Debate League, y'all. You heard it.
Yes, sir.
All right. And so with that, peace, brother. Thank you, man. This goes out to you, JJ Mandinka.
Vaping over, bro. Well, I met an AI still clocked in. You spent the whole night proving Pharaoh divine. I asked about the Ntru. You still looking for the question? Yeah, you brought the king, I brought the kingdom. That's a different way. 10 slides on Pharaoh while the pantheon had to wait. Nefer. Yeah, we heard you loud and clear, but my ad in the corner like how the hell I disappeared. A Terminative on the screen like you cracked the Rosetta. Pointing at a 40 screaming, see, that's a Netta. Cool. Classification now, tell me what it means when I'm in links with Ryan starts combining divine themes. You proved the king was divine. I never said he wasn't. Spent 10 minutes kicking doors that I had already opened. Coronation makes some horrors. Cool, follow your own word. If he could be divine, then what was he first? Already human, so it changed when the crown. We biology, DNA, or theological kingship. You built the transformation, then forgot what you constructed. Try to prove literal people, prove divine status wasn't tough. Quit hiding behind the king. You got Horus on repeat, but can't explain the whole thing. My head, heck and shoe. You keep yelling at enough for brother, we already knew. A Munro walked in, now what? Two literal dudes fused together, man, your whole model stuck. You brought Ass Man to the party, I said excellent choice. But Ass Man got more pages than your meta gave a voice. You quote the man on kingship like the scholarship stops there. Meanwhile, divinity manifests through sun and breathing air. You got a king who's Horus and Osiris when he's dead. Divine office ritual function, but somehow in your head. That means every Netta walking was a flesh and blood dude. That's not a historical method, that's a categoric confused. Where's my tomb? Where Hector get buried? What dynasty ruled? When Nut got married? When Shu became the atmosphere? Where's the coronation date? And when the Mun merged with Ra, did they file with the state? You brought a royal dozen made to explain cosmology, then called everybody liars who questioned your theology. But eating literal louder doesn't make the inference true. You proved the Pharaoh, you never brewed the Ntru. Prove the Ntru. Quit hide behind the throne. If your theory covers everybody, leave the Pharaoh alone. Prove the Ntru. Bring the Nut, give it Shu, bring Sia, bring who, bring Hector. Tell me what your mom do. Prove the Ntru. Then the debate ended. Meta said, nah, we ain't done. Days later, citations dropping like bonus rounds begun. Meta writing dissertations, JJ hitting copy paste. Asman catching quotations he might never recognize my face. But if it's in the book, just show the page in line. Don't bring me artificial confidence dressed up as divine. Here's 10 things Heru has to prove. Man, stop, 9 about the Pharaoh in a tent. Still missed the plot, mutilation, grain. Oh, statues you shouting, these were real. Nobody said their religion wasn't something they could feel. Nobody said the gods were fake. Nobody called the rich pretend. The question was their nature and you dodged it till the end. You argued legal force means one ontology is true, but laws can sanctify a king without explaining every do. So keep the throne name, keep the crown, keep the determinative to it. Explain reheartiate them with the same damn rule. Amun, Netter, Ra, Netter, Amun Ra, JJ, we waiting, huh? Netteret, cosmic order, yep. King, divine, fully godlike. Met said check, and that's the difference you kept trying to erase. Divinity and Kemet wasn't one flat category in the first place. Now the debate is done, so I'm letting judges judge. No Facebook rematch, cause somebody holding a grudge. Paul already spoke, first school. war came through. Meanwhile, you're outside arguing with meta like it's round 2. I don't need another threat, I don't need another fight. Should've brought that ammunition on debate night. Cause scholarship after the bell can't rewrite what occurred. Can't retroactively insert another source, another word. You called yourself jam cool, championships get tested, but confidence ain't evidence and volume ain't respected. I came for the entire system, you came around the throne. I asked about the Ntru, you kept bringing kinks alone. So next time you summon Asman, bring the book instead of AI. Bring the page, bring the context, let the scholarship justify. When somebody asks what happened, keep the summary true. You proved the king was divine. Heru said, Ntru, Ntru.